Welcome to the Valley of the Roses. I'm in Kazanlak in Bulgaria, and this is the morning after the 3-week Rose Festival, although most of the Rose Festival happened on the weekend just gone. And you might be saying, what is a Rose Festival? Why are you in Bulgaria? Well, I'm here because of the Rose Festival. I'm currently in the Rosarium, it's called. This is the garden, one of the big gardens where a lot of the festival activities happened. And as you can see, it is filled with roses. If I do a little pan right around, there's roses right in front of me. It's all around. Unfortunately, they're a little bit sad because it's been a very hot weekend. But I mean, the beauty has been just incredible to be in the essence of the roses. Now, I am squinting a little bit. It's early in the morning. The sun is right in front of me. But it's the best that I can do for this. There's noise because there's a lot of busy roads around this park, and Kazanlak is waking up to a Monday morning after the Rose Festival. So it's really interesting how I came to be here. I mean, I love all things roses. My mission, the reason I'm here, is to do with the rose line, as in here in this incarnation, is all about the rose line, and I talk about that a lot on this channel. And I don't talk so much about the roses, and yet the roses are the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's an interesting story. I've shared it a couple of times, but I'll just share it briefly here because there is a link as to why I'm in Bulgaria as well. Firstly, just to mention, up until 12 months ago, I hadn't really associated the fact that most rose oil comes from Bulgaria, even though it's called Bulgarian rose oil, and it comes from this valley that I'm in at the moment, which is the most exquisite the most exquisite valley, and it has the Balkan mountain range on one side and another mountain range on the other, and it just makes the most perfect climate to grow roses. And so the land here sends its energy through the roses all over the world, and I find that quite exquisite, but I'll go into that in a minute because I was about to tell you a story. So 22 and a half years ago, when I was pregnant with my youngest child, Grace, I was learning pranic healing. And because I was pregnant, the other students weren't allowed to practice on me. So the teacher did the sessions on me. And because she was clairvoyant, she shared with me that I know the language of roses and the meaning of different colors of roses, and I forget what else she said. I think that's all I wrote down at the time. That's what I've remembered. And at the time, roses weren't a big part of my life. I loved them like most people do. They weren't a big part of my life. But that stayed with me. And so after that, I moved to Perth in Australia for about 8 months, and Perth had a lot more roses than where I lived in northern New South Wales. So I used to go and sit and commune with the roses and the different colours, and I'd write messages, and it was actually through that the roseline beings that I talk about so much in all my work, that they started to come through. So the beings like Mary Magdalene, Joan of Arc, Nefertiti, and so on. So that was when I was pregnant with Grace. About last September, October, Grace was travelling through Europe for 6 or 7 months, and she spent 2 months in Bulgaria. And it didn't click at the time, but after a while I went, oh my gosh, Bulgaria, rose oil. You can get me some rose oil while you're there, which she did. And she brought it back, and from the moment I started to use that rose oil, I was like, I have to go to Bulgaria. When I'm in Europe next summer, I'm going to Bulgaria. And so between 2 retreats I'm running, the France one and the Glastonbury one, I had this space. So I booked an apartment here. I found out, the rose oil she gave me was from Kazanlak, so I booked an apartment here and thought, I'm just going. I just didn't know why, I just knew I had to come. So I found that interesting that it was like Grace led me here, and that I was pregnant with Grace when I first found out about the roses. So 2 of my beautiful rose sisters came with me here. And we've had 5 days here immersed in the energy of the rose, and it's incredibly exquisite. The Bulgarian people are beautiful. It's been so welcoming. It's quite a small town. It's about 50,000, I think, the inhabitants here. But they get a couple of 100,000 in for the weekend of the Rose Festival. A lot of them are day trippers from Sofia. But being here in this energy and being surrounded by roses and by being surrounded by people who love roses, they love that they live in the Valley of the Roses and that people come from all around the world. I mean, they were pretty chuffed to have a couple of Australians and a Canadian here because they are mostly Bulgarians come to the festival. Quite a few Chinese and Japanese as well, not a lot, but not so many English speakers. So they've been really excited about having us here. We've had just such a warm welcome wherever we've been. So I do want to share just one experience that I had here. On the second day, we went to a megalith called the Door of the Goddess. It was a hike up through a forest and it was exquisite. The forest was exquisite. There were no people there at all. They call this Bulgaria's Stonehenge. There were no people there. We hiked up and at the top there were two little kids and a mother and grandmother, which was such beautiful energy. They brought all this joy and play. And we spent some time just sitting at the Door of the Goddess. And on the way up in the forest, I did get some really strong, very powerful downloads about the rose line in connection with the Door of the Goddess and the codes that were planted there thousands and thousands of years ago. And I won't go into that here. That's something I share with my Patreon members in the Roseline group. But just to say, it was very sacred, and it's not surprising, based on what my understanding was of the codes held in the earth here, that hundreds of years ago, roses began to be planted here to hold the energy of those codes and to spread it around the world, because the oil goes all around the world. You may not know, but the frequency of the rose is 320 hertz and love is 528, I think it is. And the rose is the closest tangible thing to the frequency of love. Now, personally, I think that the different color roses hold different frequencies. Sorry, I just realized I've been watching myself and not the camera, so I apologize that I haven't been making eye contact with you. It's too early in the morning. So I believe, and just looking at these colored roses in front of me now, each of them holds a different frequency. And that frequency is going to be resonant with different people. So you will find at different points in your life you might be drawn to a different coloured rose, because its frequency is not just the general 320. They're all going to have a different frequency, and depending on your frequency at the time, what you're experiencing in life at the time, you're going to have a different resonance with them. So in my communing with the roses so far, what I've realised is I can't truly say pink means this, red means this, yellow means this, because it means something different for every person, and it means something different depending on where you're at, what you're experiencing in your life, and also how you are using that essence. So, for example, in my 1-year priestess initiation journey that I'm currently holding in the Temple of the Rose, we just did a whole 11 session period in the first 3 months of this year, all about manifesting with the rose, creating with the rose. And in that case, the different coloured roses had different meanings to what might normally be ascribed to them. So I just wanted to share that. The other thing is that I was pondering this morning is I was wondering in some ways, like, what have I taken away from this few days here? Why was I called here? And I drew a couple of cards. I brought 2 card decks with me, the Delphi Oracle and the Rose Oracle. And both of those are linked in the show notes if you're interested in checking them out. And the cards I drew basically gave me the message that you don't always know the answer. And what I realized then as I tuned into the rose is that the reason I'm here is a heart reason. It's not of the mind. The mind's not going to go, oh, we had to go to that place at this time for this festival because There's something being activated in my heart, and that's why I'm here. And I'm not clear on it yet, possibly when I hold the retreat in Glastonbury in a few days' time, and I am facilitating a group of all of those ladies are part of the Temple of the Rose, so it will be a big initiation for all of us. Probably more will come through me. But that's the message I want to share with you is, and I've talked about this before, if you're called to a place, go to the place. Just go there. And your mind may not understand why, but your heart will, and your heart's leading the way. So I'm going to wind it up here because it's getting really hot in the sun, and I could go on and on about the incredible few days we've had here. It was just amazing. I'm considering bringing a group here next year. So if you're interested in that, just leave a message and I can add you to the wait list if I do decide to do that. Just leave a comment below or send me an email. And also, if you're interested in learning more about the Rose Line, the link's below for my Patreon group. You can join as a free member to just see a little bit, get a feel of what's in there before you commit. But it's a very low cost membership anyway, if you'd like to join me there. Anyway, I'm leaving Kazanlak today, leaving this beautiful Valley of the Roses and heading to Glastonbury. So I will most likely create a video from there. It's a full time, but I'm hoping to be able to create a video for you there. So until then, bye.